Bombadil was a merry fellow. Bright blue his jacket was, his boots were yellow. Green were his girdle and his breeches all of leather. He wore in his tall hat a swan wing feather. He lived up under hill where the withy windle ran from a grassy well down into the dingle. Old Tom in summertime walked about the meadows, gathering the buttercups, running after shadows. Tickling the bumblebees that buzzed among the flowers, sitting by the waterside for hours upon hours. There his beard dangled long down into the water. Up came Goldberry, the river woman's daughter. Tom's hanging hair in he went a-wallowing, under the water lilies bubbling and a-swallowing. Hey Tom Bombadil, whither are you going? Said fair Goldberry, bubbles you are blowing. Frightening the finny fish and the brown water rat, startling the dab chicks and drowning your feather hat. You bring it back again, there's a pretty maiden, said Tom Bombadil, I do not care for waiting. Tom woke in morning light, whistled like a starling, sang come derry doll, merry doll my darling. He clapped on his battered hat, boots and coat and feather, opened the window wide to the sunny weather. Bombadil, he was a wary fellow, bright blue his jacket was, and his boots were yellow. None ever caught old Tom in upland or in dingle, walking the forest pass or by the wither windle.
Grey as a mouse, big as a house, nose like a snake. I make the earth shake as I tramp through the grass. Trees crack as I pass, with haunt in my mouth. I walk in the south, flapping big ears. Beyond count of years, I stump round and round, never lie on the ground. Not even to die, Olifant am I, biggest of all, huge, old and tall. If ever you'd met me, you wouldn't forget me. If you never do, you won't think I'm true, but old Olifant am I.
gondola to wander in and had in her a load of yellow oranges and porridge for his provender. He perfumed her with marjoram and cardamom and lavender. He called the winds of Argosies with cargoes in to carry him across the river 17 that lay between to tarry him. He landed all in loneliness where stonily the pebbles on the running river Derelin goes merrily forever on. He journeyed then through meadowlands to Shadowland that dreary lay, and under hill and over hill went roving still a weary way. She scorned him and she scoffed at him, she laughed at him unpitying. So long he studied wizardry and sigildry and smithying. Princess me lovely was she, as an elven song is told. She had pearls in hair all threaded fair, of gossamer shots with gold. Was her kerchief made in a silver braids of stars about her throat. Of moth-webbed lights all moonlit white, she wore a woven coat. And round her kirtle was bound a girdle sewn with diamond dew. She walked by day under mantle grey and hood of clouded blue, but she went by nights all glittering bright under the starlit sky. And her slippers frail of fish's mail flashed as she went by. To her dancing pool and on mirror cool of windless water played, as a mist of light in whirling flight, a glint like glass she made. Wherever her feet of silver fleet flicked the dancing floor, she looked on high to the roofless sky, and she looked to the shadowy shore. Then round she went, and her eyes she bent, and saw beneath her go but she princess she, as fair as me. They were dancing toe to toe. She was as light as me and as bright, but she was strange to tell, hanging came down with starry crown into a bottomless well. Her gleaming eyes, in great surprise, looked up to the eyes of me. A marvelous thing, head down to swing above a starry sea. Only their feet could ever meet where the ways might lie, to find a land where they do not stand, but hang down in the sky.
There is an inn, a merry old inn, beneath an old grey hill, and there they brew a beer so brown that the man in the moon himself came down one night to drink his fill. The ostler has a tipsy cat that plays a five-string fiddle, and up and down he runs his bow, now squeaking high, now purring low, now sawing in the middle. The landlord keeps a little dog that is mighty fond of jokes. When there's good cheer among the guests, he cocks an ear at all the jests and laughs until he chokes. They also keep a horned cow, was proud as any queen, but music turns her head like ale and makes her wave her tufted tail and dance upon the green. And oh, the row of silver dishes and the store-up silver spoons. For Sunday there's a special pair, and these they polish up with care, and Saturday afternoons the man in the moon was drinking deep, and the cat began to wail. A dish and a spoon on the table danced. The cow in the garden madly pranced, and the little dog chased his tail. Took another mug and then rolled beneath his chair. And there he dozed and dreamed of ale, Still in the sky the stars were pale, and dawn was in the air. The round moon rolled behind the hill as the sun raised up her head, and they all went back to bed. A starbeam on the wet sand, white shell like a seatbell, trembling it lay in my wet hand. In my fingers shaken, I heard waken a ding within by a harbour bar. Swinging a call, ringing over endless seas, faint now and far. Then I saw a boat silently float on the night tide, empty and grey. It is later than late, why do we wait? I leapt in and cried, bear me away. Strand in a strange land, in the twilight beyond the deep. I heard a sea bell swing in the swell, dinging, dinging, and the breakers roar, the hidden teeth of a perilous reef. And at last I came to a long shore. Glittering sand slid through my hand, dust of pearl and jewel grist, trumpets of opal, roses of coral, flutes of green and amethyst. But under cliff eaves there were glooming caves, weed curtained, dark and grey. A cold air stirred in my hair, and the light waned as I hurried away.
The fat cat on the mat may seem to dream of nice mice that suffice for him, or cream. But he free maybe walks in thought, unbowed, proud, where loud roared and fought. His kin lean and slim, or deep in den in the east, he's feasted on beasts and tender men. The giant lion with iron claw in paw, and huge ruthless tooth in gory jaw. The pard dark-starred fleet upon feet, that oft soft from aloft leaps on his meat. Where woods loom in gloom far now they be, fierce and free and tamed is he. But fat cat on the mat, kept as a pet, he does not forget. Yes, fat cat on the mat, kept as a pet, he does not forget.
The lonely troll, he sat on a stone and sang a mournful lay. Oh why must I live on my own in the hills of far away? My folk are gone beyond recall and take no thought of me. Alone I'm left, the last of all, from where the top to the sea. I steal no gold, I drink no beer, I eat no kind of meat. But people slam their doors in fear whenever they hear my feet. Oh, how I wish that they were neat and my hands were not so rough. Yet my heart is soft, my smile is sweet, and my cooking good enough. Come, come, he thought, this will not do. I must go and find a friend. A walking soft, I'll wander through the Shire from end to end. Down he went and he walked all night with his feet in boots of fur. To delving he came in the morning light when folk were just astir. He looked around and who did he meet but old Mrs. Bunce and all, with umbrella and basket walking the street, and he smiled and stopped to call.
The shadows where the Mewlips dwell are dark and wet as ink, and slow and softly rings their bell as in the slime you sink. You sink into the slime, who dare to knock upon their door, while down the grinning gargoyles stare and noisome waters pour. Beside the rotting river strand, the drooping willows weep, and gloomily the gawcrows stand, croaking in their sleep.
By a dark pool's borders, without wind or tide, moonless and sunless, the Mewlips hide.
The cellars where the Mewlips sit are deep and dank and cold, with single sickly candle lit, and there they count their gold. Their walls are wet, their ceilings drip, their feet upon the floor go softly with a squish flap flip as they sidle to the door. They peep out slyly through a crack, their feeling fingers creep. And when they've finished in a sack, your bones they take to keep. Beyond the Murloc Mountains, along a lonely road, through the spider shadows and the marsh of toad, and through the wood of hanging trees and the gallows sweet, you go to find the Mewlips, and the Mewlips feed.
The leaves were long, the grass was green, the hemlock umbels tall and fair, and in the glade a light was seen of stars in shadow shimmering. Diluvial was dancing there to the music of a pipe unseen, and light of stars was in her hair and in her raiment glimmering. Their Baron came from mountains cold, and lost he wandered under leaves, and where the elven river rolled, he walked alone and sorrowing. He peered between the hemlock leaves, and saw in wonder flowers of gold upon her mantle and her sleeves, and her hair like shadow following.
Look, there is Fasted Tokelon, an island good to land upon, although 'tis rather bare. Come, leave the sea and let us run, or dance or lie down in the sun. Seagulls are sitting there. Beware. Gulls do not sink. There they may sit or strut and prink, their part it is to tip the wink, if anyone should dare upon that isle to settle, or only for a while to get relief from sickness or the wet. Boil a kettle, foolish folk who land on him, and little fires proceed to trim, and hope perhaps for tea. It may be that his shell is thick, he seems to sleep, but he is quick and floats now in the sea with guile. And when he hears their tapping feet, or faintly feels the sudden heat, with smile he dives, and promptly turning upside down, he tips them off, and deep they drown and lose their silly lives to their surprise. Be wise. Many monsters in the sea, but none so perilous as he. Old horny Fasted Tokelon, whose mighty kindred all have gone, the last of the old turtle fish. So if to save your life you wish, then be wise.
Sat alone on his seat of stone and munched was hard to come by. Done by, gone by in a cave in the hills. He dwelt alone, and meat was hard to come by. Up came Tom with his big boots on. Said he to Crow, pray, what is yon? For it looks like the sheen of mine Uncle Tim. I should be a lion in graveyard, caveyard, paveyard. Many a year has Tim been gone, and I thought he were lying in graveyard. My lad said, troll, this bone I stole, but what be bones that lie in a hole? Thine uncle was dead as a lump of lead, afore I found his shin bone, tin bone, thin bone. He can spare a share for a poor old troll, for he don't need his shin bone, said Tom. Tom, I don't see why the likes of thee, without axing leave, should go making free with the shank or the shin of my father's kin. So hand the old bone over, rover, trover.
Was a man who dwelt alone as day and night went past. He sat as still as carven stone, and yet no shadow cast. The white owls perched upon his head beneath the winter moon. They wiped their beaks and thought him dead under the stars of June. He woke as had he sprung of stone, and broke the spell that bound him. He clasped her fast, both flesh and bone, and wrapped her shadow round him. Nevermore she walks her ways by sun or moon or star. She dwells below where neither days nor any nights there are. But once a year when caverns yawn and hidden things awake, they dance together then till dawn and a single shadow make.
Looked out at 3 o'clock. The grey night was going. Far away a golden cock, clear and shrill, was crowing. Trees were dark and the dawn pale. Waking birds were cheeping. A wind moved cool and frail through dim leaves creeping. Watch the gleam at window grow till the long light was shimmering. Key on land and leaf on grass, below grey dew was glimmering. Over the floor her white feet crept, down the stair they twinkled, through the grass they dancing stepped, all with dew besprinkled. Her gown had jewels upon its hem as she ran down to the river and leaned upon a willow stem and watched the water quiver. Kingfisher plunged down like a stone in a blue flash falling. Bending reeds were softly blown, lily leaves were sprawling. A sudden music to her came as she stood there gleaming, with free hair in the morning's flame, on her shoulders streaming. Flutes there were and harps were rung, and there was sound of singing, like wind voices keen and young, and far bells
The man in the moon had silver shoon, and his beard was of silver thread, with opals crowned and pearls all bound about his girdle stead. In his mantle grey he walked one day across a shining floor, and with crystal key in secrecy he opened an ivory door. On a filigree stair of glimmering hair, then lightly down he went, and merry was he at last to be free on a mad adventure bent. In diamonds white he had lost delight, he was tired of his minaret, of tall moonstone that towered alone on a lunar mountain set. Dare any peril for ruby and beryl to broider his pale attire, for new diadems of lustrous gems, emerald and sapphire. He was lonely too, with nothing to do but stare at the world of gold, and hark to the hum that would distantly come as gaily round it rolled. Puddings of Yule with plums, poor fool, he arrived so much too soon. An unwary guest on a lunatic quest from the mountains of the moon.
when the moon was new and the sun young, of silver and gold the gods sung, and the green grass they silver spilled, and the white waters they with gold filled. Ere the pit was dug or hell yawned, ere dwarf was bred or dragon spawned, there were elves of old and strong spells, under green hills in hollow dells. They sang as they wrought many fair things, and the bright crowns of the elf kings. But their doom fell and their song waned, by iron hewn and by steel chained. Greed that sang not nor with mouth smiled, in the dark holes their wealth piled, graven silver and carven gold, over elven home the shadow rolled. There was an old dwarf in a dark cave, to silver and gold his fingers clave, with hammer and tongs and anvil stone. He worked his hands to the hard bone. And coins he made and strings of rings, and thought to buy the power of kings. But his eyes grew dim and his ears dull, and the skin yellow on his old skull. There is a hoard in a dark rock, forgotten doors none can unlock. In a grim gate no man can pass, on the mound grows the green grass. There sheep feed and the lark soar, and the wind blows from the seashore. The old hoard the night shall keep, while earth waits and elves sleep.